It was raining that evening, the kind of slow, endless drizzle that made everything outside the cafe window blur into a wash of silver and gray. The air smelled of coffee, wet asphalt, and quiet disappointment. Inside, the low hum of conversation mixed with the soft clinking of cups. But for Daniel, the sound only made his heart beat louder. He glanced at his wristwatch for the 10th time. He was late. Again. He had rushed from the office, stuck in traffic that never seemed to move, the seconds dripping away faster than the rain outside. He hated being late. But tonight, it wasn't just any appointment. It was his first blind date in almost 3 years. After everything he'd gone through, the breakup that hollowed him, the months of loneliness, the slow, painful rebuilding of himself, this was supposed to be a small step towards something new, a new beginning. He'd promised himself he'd show up on time, with flowers, with hope. Yet here he was, 15 minutes late, heart pounding, palms sweating, standing in the doorway of Café Lavelle like a man already losing a chance he hadn't even taken yet. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, then take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe so more stories like this reach the people who need them most. He scanned the cafe, searching for her. The only clue he had was that she'd be sitting by the window, wearing a pale blue dress and holding a small notebook, something she always carried, as her friend had told him. Her name was Emily. He had seen her picture once, blurry and half-hidden behind her hair, but her eyes, those quiet, thoughtful eyes, had stayed in his mind. He wanted to see them in real life, to know what they looked like when they smiled. He walked through the cafe, eyes darting from face to face, until he saw a girl by the far window. She wasn't holding a notebook, but there was something fragile about her posture, something quietly aching in the way her hands trembled around her cup. Her face was half turned toward the window, and he saw the faint glimmer of tears tracing down her cheek. She wasn't the girl he was supposed to meet, or so he thought, but something about that moment stopped him. She looked lost, not just lonely, but lost, like someone who had been searching for a reason to hold on, and was starting to lose it. He hesitated. His heart told him to walk over. His mind reminded him that he was already late. His date might be waiting somewhere else, perhaps annoyed, perhaps already gone. But then he saw it, the faint outline of a blue dress beneath her gray coat, a pale notebook on the seat beside her, soaked slightly at the edge from the rain. It hit him all at once. That was her. Emily. Froze where he stood, guilt washing over him. She was crying, and it was because of him. Daniel approached slowly, unsure of what to say, unsure if he even deserved to speak. The soft rain tapped against the glass beside her. She didn't look up until his shadow fell over her table. When she did, her eyes met his, red, swollen, but still filled with that quiet, raw humanity that made him feel something he hadn't in years. He stammered an apology, but no words came out. He sat down across from her, awkwardly, clutching his umbrella like it could protect him from the silence between them. The cafe light reflected off her tears, and the sight pierced him deeper than he expected. He told her he was sorry, that traffic had trapped him, that he hadn't meant to be late, but she only nodded, not out of anger, but out of exhaustion. She told him she thought he wasn't coming, that maybe it was another cruel joke from the world, another promise broken too soon. She said it softly, without bitterness, but it broke something inside him. As they sat there, the cafe around them faded away. Time slowed, and all that remained was two people, both quietly bruised by life, trying to remember what hope felt like. He asked her if she wanted to leave, to walk a little, to get fresh air. She hesitated, then nodded. They stepped out into the gentle rain, the kind that didn't sting but soaked into your clothes slowly, like a memory you couldn't shake off. They walked without talking for a while. The streets shimmered under the glow of wet lamps. She told him that she used to come to that cafe often, that it reminded her of her late father who had loved coffee. She said she hadn't been on a date in years, not since losing someone she thought would stay forever. She had promised herself she wouldn't fall again, but her friend had convinced her to try, to believe that maybe not everyone leaves. Daniel listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't try to fix her words. He just listened, the way no one had really listened to him when his own world had collapsed. As they walked, he began to tell her his story too, about how he'd once been engaged, how the woman he loved had left him 2 weeks before the wedding, how he'd stopped believing in fate, in love, in anything that came with a risk. They both laughed softly at how broken they sounded. Two people patched together by life, pretending to be fine, finally admitting they weren't. When the rain grew heavier, they found shelter under an old bookstore's awning. She hugged her coat tighter, her hair damp and sticking to her face. He handed her his umbrella. She refused at first, but he insisted, saying he'd already made her wait long enough. That made her laugh, the kind of quiet, shaky laugh that comes when someone hasn't smiled in too long. It was then, in that moment of quiet laughter under the rain, that Daniel realized something. He hadn't come there for a date anymore. He had come there to remember how to feel again. The next few hours passed like a dream neither of them wanted to wake from. They went back to the cafe, ordered new cups of coffee, and sat for hours, talking about everything and nothing. The rain outside slowed to a mist, and the cafe emptied as the night deepened. She showed him the sketches in her notebook, little drawings of faces, windows, and street lamps. Each one told a small story, quiet and incomplete. She said she drew to remember moments that made her feel something, no matter how small. He told her he wanted to be one of those drawings someday. She smiled just faintly, but he saw warmth in her eyes now. By the time they finally stood to leave, it was past midnight. The cafe lights had dimmed, the streets had gone quiet, and the rain had stopped. He walked her to her car. Neither wanted to say goodbye. She thanked him for showing up, even if he was late. He told her he was glad she waited. When she drove away, Daniel stood in the street long after her taillights disappeared. The world felt a little softer. The air smelled of new beginnings. In the days that followed, he couldn't stop thinking about her. The way she looked out the window like she was waiting for the world to give her a reason to believe again. The way her laughter had sounded like sunlight breaking through clouds. He texted her the next morning, a simple message, "Can I be late again, if it means I still get to see you?" She replied after a while, "Only if you bring coffee this time." And just like that, something in both of them shifted. Slowly, gently, beautifully. Over the next few weeks, they met often, sometimes at the same cafe, sometimes in the park, sometimes just for long drives where words weren't needed. They shared stories of pain and laughter, of things they'd lost and things they'd begun to hope for again. With every meeting, the space between them grew smaller. What began as two broken people trying to make sense of life turned into something pure, something neither had expected but both desperately needed. He learned that she still wrote letters she never sent, to her father, to the man who left, to the version of herself she used to be. She told him those letters helped her let go. He told her about the songs he used to play on his guitar but had stopped after his heartbreak. She made him promise to play again someday, and he did. One evening, in that same cafe where they first met, Daniel brought his old guitar. The lights were low, the crowd was thin, and Emily sat at the window as she always did, notebook beside her, pen resting in her hand. He sang a song, quiet, raw, and trembling. Not about love, but about finding courage in brokenness, about showing up even when you're late, even when you think it's too late. When he finished, the cafe was silent for a moment. Then she clapped softly, tears glistening in her eyes. He sat down beside her, and for the first time she took his hand. It felt like holding forgiveness. They didn't talk much after that. They didn't need to. Sometimes the people who enter your life late are the ones meant to arrive all along. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe, and let others feel the warmth of second chances too. Before you go, comment below. Do you believe that the right people still find their way to us, even if they arrive late? Because sometimes being late doesn't mean you missed your chance. It means destiny was just waiting for you to be ready.